Welcome to Contemplative Living, where we view contemplations for the week to have a better understanding of our spiritual paths. This is Contemplative Living with Dave Bennett.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Contemplative Living, where we talk about concepts to bring contemplative living into everyday life. Today, I want to talk a little bit about thankfulness and gratitude and the concepts that surround that. I'll tell you, I'm thankful to even be live today because I am recovering from a bout of laryngitis. But my voice is recovering slowly, and you can probably hear those darker tones in my voice today. So, all right. I'd like to start with something that Eckhart Tolle said. He said, acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. And that's so true about our lives. You know, when we acknowledge the good that we already have, instead of focusing on the negative, then we have a foundation there that we can build on. And so to start, though, we need to understand respect. Respect. Each person and thing, each spark of infinite being contains all of the light qualities of every other infinite being. We all have a spark of the divine within each and every one of us. We all have that drive to be who we truly are, to live up to our divine essence. But it's difficult. It's difficult, especially this year. This year, we've had so many extra challenges and coming at us from so many different directions that we get, we have trouble. We have trouble seeing that divine because, we're thinking this, we're thinking that, and it's not who we really are. So, but if we can stop for a moment, recognize the divine within each of us, and recognize that every one of us has that spark, has that light quality within each and every one of us and each and everything, then we can respect one another. We may not necessarily agree with one another, but we can respect that person is trying to find and live within the spark of light that resides within them. And that's what's important, is that we try to respect one another and that we work together to live on this planet and to coexist, and show ourselves that we can get along together. Appreciation. Humanity has been doing what they do for centuries, living and dying, loving and fighting, crying and laughing. Go back 3-4 generations, and what were they doing? They were being born, they were growing up, they were facing challenges, they were having relationships with and marriages and children and family and trying to get by and eventually growing old and passing on. Humanity has been doing this for generations and generations. This is nothing new, but we treat it like it is new. Now, concepts and philosophies come into favor and go out of favor, but we need to appreciate that life is the same as it always has been. It's this earth, living on this earth for us is the same as it was for the ancients. We walk this earth the same way. And we need to appreciate that. That what is the one foundation? Our earth. Our earth is our one foundation that keeps us here, that keeps us grounded. And we need to appreciate her. We need to appreciate our life and understand that the fluctuations that we experience are just transitory trends of thought and philosophy and belief systems but our underlying spirituality and the foundation of our earth are our constants. And to be able to come to appreciate that is a strong foundation. Remember what we started with Eckhart Tolle, talking about appreciating what we currently have. So appreciating this is, that this life is what our ancestors have had to struggle with as well. All right, and recognition. When we constantly live and act from a deep place of hope, love, and kindness, we stimulate and connect to the same level of hope, love, and kindness in others. Remember, we were saying that we all share, where we all have our own divine spark, and that we look to that to respect each other. Well, recognizing that from that spark, we are constantly trying to live and act from that place of love, from that place of kindness and appreciation and hope, that we understand that others are trying to do the same thing in their own way. And to recognize that we're all kind of here on this earth and walking the same paths, and we're doing it in our own unique ways. And that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing when we recognize that. Now, again, we don't always appreciate, or we don't always agree with other people's choices, but that's fine. We can respect it. They're making the best choices that they know how, and we can go with that. If we go with that, then we are moving forward. Oh, I did the double tap again. Hang on just a second here. We only want one at a time. Okay, I can only talk about one at a time. I'm sorry, I only have one mouth. So, thankful. For every interaction in all of life, no matter how they were perceived, they provide growth. So every interaction that we have with others, with ourself, with our spiritual family, in our entire life, and those interactions that a lot of times that we're not so happy about, or that we're really happy about, no matter how they're perceived, every interaction provides us growth. Every interaction is a seed for us to either accept or reject. And many times what we take in is what our essence longs for, what our essence is looking for. And so to be thankful for all these interactions, all these flavors that we get to experience in life. And some flavors are sour, some flavors are sweet. So we take what is good for us, hopefully that's what we're doing, and we're thankful for the chance to experience the completeness of life. Because if there wasn't different flavors in life, how boring would that be to just have one flavor, So to be able to experience and to be able to look at and And I know that this year has been extremely tough because we've been kind of sheltered in place and haven't been allowed to move about as freely as we have in the past. But just think about some of the countries where people, their entire lives, have not been free to move about as we have been. So be thankful for all the interactions that occur in our lives, because they show us so much more. And then gratitude, realizing when a triumph becomes a trial becomes a triumph, all leading us towards spiritual maturity. So what we were just talking about with every interaction, providing growth, what's that growth toward? It's towards spiritual maturity. Now, many experiencers who have experienced just a touch of the divine feel that that's a triumph. But then, because they've had that experience, many times that triumph becomes a trial, because you have to learn how to live in this life knowing that that expansive quality of loving and light exists, and that it exists within us, and it also exists outside of us. And when we recognize or realize that many times what we perceive as a triumph is only the beginning of a trial of how to live with and how to integrate that triumph into our life in a positive way, not an egotistical way, but in a positive way where we're working with our divine essence. And then sometimes those interactions that we have may seem like a trial, but we grow so much from those trials. I think of the time when I was coming through stage 4 lung and bone cancer. That was a trial. That was an immense trial for me. But it was also a period of immense spiritual growth for me. It was a period where I grew exponentially in my spiritual path. And that's important. It's very important that we recognize and we're grateful, we're thankful, we're respectful, and that we recognize these moments. We recognize how important they are in our life, even though they may be difficult times, even though they may be tough to experience. So, acknowledge our powers begin and end with our heart-centered intentions. So our gratitude and thanks come from heart-centered intentions. And heart-centered intentions are really what our divine essence, that light, that spark within each and every one of us, is connected to. That heart-centered intention is pure. There's a purity there that is looking for that light and to bring that light into our lives. And that's that's the power that we have. We really don't have any other power than our true essence. We may think, our egos may think that because we have a position or we have, some authority of some sort or another, that we have some kind of power. But really, true power comes from our divine essence, and the intentions that we attach to that divine light, that divine love that resides within us, is so much more powerful than anything that the ego can conceptualize. So acknowledge that we have that divine spark. Acknowledge that we live with everyone else who has a divine spark, and be grateful and thankful for all the experiences that we have in life. So you see, thankfulness is multifaceted. It has all these elements that we've been talking about this morning. recognition, respect, acknowledgement. That's all within thankfulness. It's all within gratitude. And when we come from that place, we step aside from our ego self. We step aside from that and we listen more to our divine self, because you cannot be thankful and grateful, truly thankful and grateful, without stepping aside, without connecting to that divine spark within you. So I hope that you're able to, have been able to this week, and are able to next week, live in that space of gratitude and thankfulness. And I hope you've enjoyed this talk. Namaste.